The best in the West for 4 straight years in running. The University of Idaho is the best value in public education on the western half of the country. The United States News and World Report released that ranking annually, and it's actually a very impressive accomplishment, but not one to get any favor from East Coast politicians. If you recall last week, senators from Massachusetts, Illinois, and Connecticut, well, they wrote a shared letter to the University of Idaho. They are against the university's plan to affiliate with the University of Phoenix, an institution they say that hurts the U of I's brand and reputation. And Andrew Bartline has read through responses on both ends. And Andrew, we'll start with this. Why do senators from the East Coast even care what's going on in Idaho with our colleges?
Well, in that letter, it appears they believe the federal government would have to bail out any University of Phoenix financial or legal trouble that they may or may not get in if they're affiliated with a public school, being the University of Idaho. The senators also say the University of Phoenix has a reputation of taking advantage of veterans, only to rake in federal dollars through the GI Bill. So here's a summary of the complaints that the 3 senators sent to Idaho President Scott Green. They want to know how the University of Idaho plans to fix failing Phoenix programs, specifically how 7,000 undergraduates in this institution, or an institution that size, I should say, can absorb 65,000 students in population from the University of Phoenix. Third part of that, how Idaho plans to pay for those legal troubles they alluded to if that would arise, and if the school has a plan to stop the exploitation of veterans that they said earlier as well, and what the brand of the University of Idaho would look like going forward as well. So there's some accusatory language in here. I understand that, but the university confronted that on their own with their questions. So the senators say Phoenix has 7 failing programs. Idaho's response, they say the University of Phoenix cut those programs in 2010. They have not accepted new students in those fields since 2010. They say that's not a problem anymore. Well, how can Idaho support their 7,000 students if the University of Phoenix is going to bring in another 65,000? The U of I says that Phoenix is an online school with support systems in place. There are enough services for everyone. They say that's not going to change. Third piece here, how does Idaho plan to cover any liabilities? Well, Idaho says that's not their problem. Remember, the University of Idaho is not buying the University of Phoenix. A not-for-profit corporation buys the University of Phoenix. Acquisition is the verb they're using there. But then they'll work in tandem with the University of Idaho once that sale goes through. Idaho President Scott Green says that protects the state from liability. Last piece here, how can Idaho ensure veterans will not be targeted through predatory recruiting? Well, the University of Idaho says 20% of students at the University of Phoenix were supported on the GI Bill. That's what you get for serving an active service. They pay your tuition back. Well, that was in the mid-2000s. It's now down to 9% now. Finally, what is Idaho's brand after this affiliation? Idaho says they're still Idaho. The University of Phoenix is still the University of Phoenix. Each school will act independently and share resources through a partner agreement. The purpose of that not-for-profit transaction, in part, is to move the University of Phoenix away from a for-profit business model that a lot of these senators seem to be having a problem with here, Joe. So Idaho goes in their response letter to say that the University of Phoenix has a strong online IT program, investing $600 million, more than $500 million in the last 5 years into that infrastructure. Idaho wants to provide opportunities to rural, remote parts of the state. They say this online infrastructure is a way they're going to do it.
And Andrew, I know there's a lot of things going on like adjacent to this whole situation. Like I understand there's a lawsuit against State Board of Education here in Idaho for greenlighting this process in the first place. What's the update on there? I know that there was an alleged open meeting violation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was when the State Board of Education was meeting to figure out what they want to do exactly, if they want to pursue this affiliation, I should say, Joe. AG Raul Labrador did say there was an open meeting violation. That's still working its way through the courts right now. That hasn't gone anywhere yet. So certain things need to line up for this to be finalized. The University of Idaho anticipates early next year. But yes, that is still something that's on our radar that could impact this going forward.
All right, lots of moving pieces there. Andrew Bartline reporting on the 208. Thanks so much, Andrew.